Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga, bringing you up to speed with the big happenings in the polity and in politics. Let's get to the headlines. Governor of Jigawa State, Umar Namadi, opposes former Army Chief T.Y. Danjuma as his call for self-defense, says it will degenerate into anarchy. The Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, says the force won't apologize to the minor Alabi Podri over his ordeal until the police administrative investigation is concluded. That's after DPP advice and discharged by the court. Suspected new terrorism sect killed 7 persons in Kayama, Kwara State. And that's the latest we're learning from this particular sect. Thanks again for joining us on the program, where we'll give you all access pass to happenings in the polity and in politics. And there's a couple of things. There are a couple of things that are on the front burner today, especially security, which is going to be our focus just like yesterday, because it's an important conversation when lives are lost. But let's begin from what's playing out or happening here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos, where motorists in the state are to consider adjusting their movement from Monday, April the 28th, as the Federal Ministry of Works begins the next phase of repair works on the Marine Bridge in the Apapa area of Lagos State. The Federal Controller of Works in Lagos, Lokorede Kisha, made this known during an inspection tour of the bridge. She says the rehabilitation will be done in the space of 3 weeks.
A lot of the bearings are defective, and it has been awarded for some time now. They've been working where they could walk without disrupting traffic, but now they have to really disrupt this traffic now. So this bridge will be lifted up, and at 3 sections, we have about 50 bearings to change for 8 weeks. That's the reason why we are here. Traffic diversion has been planned to take traffic from here. You can see it's a wide junction, so they can go straight like this, go to 7-Up roundabout, and then link the bridge from there to Apapa. And then the heavier ones can go straight from Costain and then go to Igomu and then link Apapa. We do not envisage any issue here, but Nigerians must know why, and Lagosians most especially must know why they need to close this bridge. That's why we are here now.
All right, so that's some, call it an information update, if you will, ahead of what the closure, what the consequence of the closure of that bridge would do to those who use those areas in Lagos. So that's almost a week's notice to all of us here in Lagos to navigate the paths that they provided for. And it's going to be quite an experience, I can tell you that. But we're staying in Lagos, where following the release of the 17-year-old boy, Alabi Quadri, the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Moshood Jimoh, has said that the defendant is yet to prove all the assertions made on the misconduct of the Nigerian police regarding this particular case. The Commissioner says the Nigerian police force will not apologize since the process of the ongoing investigation is yet to be fully concluded. He was speaking on our program this morning, the Morning Brief.
Whosoever asserts will prove. The lawyer will be making a lot of assertion here and there. If he asserts anything, he should prove it. But he has not been able to come forward to be able to give us all those submissions. Then the DPP advice that we are equally talking about, we have not cited it. I've not seen it for one. And I'm entitled to be copied. So maybe at before close of work today, they'll send it to me, then we'll now know what we are going to do. Why will I apologize when the process of investigation set up by my department have not been exhausted to give me the report for what has transpired? So the police were doing everything to ensure that every Nigerian stays safe across the country. And where there are infractions, we want people to come up to us. We don't hide people that engage in wrongdoing or people that go out of their way to violate the procedures for which an offender should be prosecuted and tried. So, and that is the discretion of the court to issue an order in the view of the court for what has been presented before the court.
All right, that's the Commissioner of Police in Lagos today. I can also confirm to you that the lawyer, Inibe Effiong, who is the lawyer to Alabi Quadri, I think is currently at the commanded quarters to meet with the Commissioner of Police, who had extended that invitation. Whatever plays out, we're going to let you know. But let's tell you that amid the rising insecurity in parts of Nigeria, Governor Umar Namadi of Jigawa State has cautioned against calls for self-defense, warning that such a move could plunge the country into what he considers an anarchy. During his appearance on Channels Television's Sunrise Daily, Governor Namadi responded to recent comments by retired General Theophilus Danjuma, who urged Nigerians to defend themselves against bandits and armed attackers, particularly in Benue and Plateau. General Danjuma, a former Minister of Defense, had argued that reliance on government for protection was no longer tenable given the spate of violence and killings in the country.
I think if you say citizens be allowed to defend themselves, I think you are causing anarchy. But I don't know. He's a very senior security person that needs to be respected, and his words are very, very important, need to be analyzed. But I felt the issue is the government is doing its best in the security architecture and the security arrangement. Like I said, when we came in, like what we did in Jigawa, if you allow the people to defend themselves, that means you are causing crisis between the farmers and the headers. But when we came in, we decided to employ a lot of strategies, a lot of tactics, including dialogue, including trying as much as possible to engage the traditional rulers, to engage the both the farmers and headers axis. And then we sat down, we agree, we reach a consensus, and we established standing committees that work and be able to reconcile the people. And then people have understood that, yes, all the years they have spent, more than 25 years, they have spent fighting themselves, killing themselves is not important. And now they are able to work together, they are able to interact together, they are able to do their normal life together. So I think the government is doing its best on this line, both at the federal and the states, different state level. So the issue of asking people to defend themselves, I think we have not reached that level yet.
All right, so the words of the governor, we haven't reached that level yet, so ask people to start defending themselves. And the question is, when will that happen pending people being killed? People are being killed literally every other day. And so people are already calling for self-defense in that sense. T.Y. Danjuma is a former chief of defense staff. He has called for self-defense for people that are killing people carelessly, randomly, if you will. And so the governor is saying if we allow this to go on, if we allow self-defense, then it's going to be a situation of degenerating into anarchy. But we can tell you that the police had actually confirmed, I think, in Kwara State, where a terrorist group known as Mahmuda had actually emerged, and 7 people have been killed. We understand the governor has also paid a visit to that area. As soon as we get all of that details of his visit, we'll be bringing you the visuals of that. But let's talk to a security expert. Kelvin Uzoma is a security consultant. He joins us virtually. Mr. Uzoma, thank you so much for coming on the program. Okay. As soon as we get a connection with him, we will come back to him. But let's just tell you what's playing out in Edo State. The governor of Edo State, Monday Okwewola, has ordered the immediate indefinite suspension of the Okumagbe of Uwanu Kingdom, Agenebode, Sako East local government area, George Oshakwe Egabo, over recent cases of incessant kidnappings and killings in his domain. The suspended traditional ruler's secretary, Chief Peter Omiegbeni, has since been arrested by relevant authorities following a recent incident that reportedly led to the death of a palace chief, one Mr. John Ikamate. So that's the latest coming in from Edo State. So there's a lot happening in terms of security or insecurity in that sense. I think that's the right word, insecurity in Nigeria. Just the resurgence is just alarming and disturbing at the end of the day. So, hey, we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, I'll continue with the rest of the program. Join us again. Welcome back. We're talking security, or in this sense, insecurity, from Plateau to Kwara, to Benue, to Edo, to Zamfara, to Borno. There's literally nowhere you turn, there's one form of insecurity or the other around the country. And this is very concerning. So a few days ago, the former Chief of Defense Staff, Theophilus Danjuma, had said, look, I reiterate what I said before. It is time for people to defend themselves, literally arm themselves and defend themselves rather than lying down and getting killed. Well, the Jigawa State Governor said, if we go that path, there's going to be anarchy. And he said, it's not time for that yet. So people are asking at what point? For instance, in Benue, a few days ago, over 70 people slaughtered. They were killed by suspected headers. And before that, 11 others had been killed. We can go to Plateau, the carnage that has happened on the Plateau. The president just came back yesterday from his overseas trip. And so there's a lot going on in terms of insecurity. Kelvin Emmanuel, I understand you're back with us. Ms. Uzoma, thank you so much for, Kelvin Uzoma, I should say, thank you for coming on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, yes. All right, fantastic. We finally got you. So let me begin from what the Jigawa State Governor has said. So two positions. The former Chief of Defense Staff has said, arm yourself, don't lie down and get killed by these marauders, suspected headers, militia headers, with all kinds of description given to these people, or terrorists, if in that sense. On the other hand, the governor said, hold up. We're going to degenerate into anarchy if we go that path. So what's your position on this?
Well, my position is that self-defense is the first law of
Oh dear. So apparently the network isn't cooperating with us as much as possible. So we'll try and see whether we can reestablish that connection. Kelvin, I want to be sure you can hear me. Can you hear me now? All right, the reason why we're raising this conversation is pretty simple. Section 33 of the Constitution says we have a right to life, and that right to life is to be protected according to Section 14 of the Constitution that says the security and welfare of the citizens or the people is actually the primary responsibility of any government or of the government in this sense. And so we aggregate our commonwealth in form of taxes and trust to the government to see how they can protect all of us. So we have the police, we have the army, and all of these security apparatus to protect all of us. It appears perhaps they're overstretched or overwhelmed. I don't know what to use and describe. So people are being killed, even in their sleep, across different states. And that's why it's a focus. Ms. Ozoma, can you hear us now?
Absolutely, yes. So
All
if that is the case, so you have a duty to defend yourself. You have a duty to defend your home. By defending yourself, the ex-military chief does not mean you should go and buy arms, start roaming the streets, looking for who to kill or who to attack. The answer is no. But if you are in your home as a law-abiding citizen and these invaders, these marauders came asking after your life, whatever you can lay your hand to defend yourself before the arrival of security agencies, before the arrival of police that has a primary mandate to protect you. I think it seems we have gotten to that point where you need to do that. On the other hand, the governor said no, that would drift to anarchy. What other sort of anarchy are we talking about when we are right here? You just mentioned from your beginning, from Plateau to Benue to Kara. These three states are very strategic in the north central geopolitical zone. Why must we continue to wait until we are all leveled down by these marauders and jihadists? Okay, because if you follow the trend, because some of us have been providing this early warning to security institutions, but they consider it more from the aspect of playing politics, okay? Because the worst thing a government or security institutions can do is to align with political sentiment. Your primary mandate as security agencies protection of life and properties. And it's on that basis that we have the Department of State Security Services. Within the police circles, you have the Force Intelligence Bureau. If the Force Intelligence Department cannot nip based on in their intelligence antenna, be able to bust these evil plans of criminal syndicates and be able to arrest them, then what is the essence of their existence?
I want you to help us map out this pattern. So, what is it about the North Central Zone? So we have Kwara, we have Kogi, we have Nasarawa, we have Benue, we have Taraba, we have Plateau. But now, what is it about the North Central that is the new, what do you call it, the playing field, some kind of the game, without trying to play down on what they're doing? Play down. Trying not to be unserious with the conversation. But it looks like this is like a sport of theirs taken too far. And it's very painful to watch that this, for instance, Benue, for instance, is the food basket of the nation. That simply means that if anything is going on in Benue, it's going to affect our food security by extension. What is it about the North Central this time, yet again, that these people have come up? And now we're hearing there is, I'm trying to look for the name, Mahmuda Group, a new terrorist sect that has emerged in Kwara State. So we were talking about Plateau. We're not done with Plateau and Benue, and now Kwara. All are in the North Central Zone. What is going on?
Okay, the dynamics and trend is this. Before now, the North-West has been the epicenter of banditry, okay? So while the security agencies, the military are busy designing how to tackle the insecurity there in the Northwest, the bandits are also busy strategizing on how to get a hold. Because according to Jim Paulsat, he said, while you are trying to enslave the other is also trying to enslave you. So it's insane on our own part as citizens to think that these bandits and their sponsors are not thinking or are not strategizing. Back to the question, North Central today is very critical because North Central, like you mentioned, Benue, the food basket of the nation, is connected to Enugu State, to Southeast, and also Kogi. So from there, and they share common border boundary with other South states, and to some extent, because I remember doing a walk in one of the local government there, where you have access to Cameroon, a community called Vinci in Cameroon. During those days, I remember it's very, very easy for you to smuggle arms from the Cameroonian border to Kwande local government in Benue State, for instance. The security agencies there are incommunicado. You can travel for 4 or 5 good hours. It happens to me as a person without no access to network. So all they do is just you run for your dear life in terms of that. So for you to get a reinforcement from many security agencies, it could take 2 days. That I experienced, I followed there for a good number of days doing underground cover in that regards, which was also supplied to the same government. So today you are talking of Kwara. Kwara borders a good number of the southwest states. So it's very easy that if Kwara is crying today, if Kwara State is leveled down, the chances that these marauders, these new killers, have also penetrated or understudying states within the south states is very, very common. You don't need a soothsayer or a prophet to tell you that. How about Plateau? The noise, the alarm have been raised over and over with regards to Plateau. But leaving that for the federal government to be able to act and the military, then at the end of the day, it seems that the military are overwhelmed and what have you. And you see, this Kwara, Kogi, Benue, they have vast land and have a good number of spots of ungoverned spaces that makes it much more easier for these terror groups, these bandits, to flourish. Okay, so it still falls back to the DSS, the police department of intelligence, and also the defense intelligence agency to move away from paying lip service to insecurity, to move away from looking at who abuses the president, who abuses the other one, and focus on the war against insecurity. I know at a point the military will be looking at it from the basis that they are doing
again, but we hope we can get you back. But Mr. Kelvin Uzoma has raised a vital point. So Kwara borders about 3 southwest states. We're talking Oyo, we're talking Osun, we're talking Ekiti here. So the southwest region should not go to sleep, because a terrorist organization or a sect in that sense has emerged in Kwara. Kwara also borders, it's a state that borders a country. If that happens, so Oyo, Osun and Ekiti all should be concerned, because they're all bordered by Kwara State at the end of the day. But let's take you to the visit by the Kwara State governor to Kayama, where he met with the Emir of Kayama over the recent attacks and the killings of 7 persons in that area by some persons suspected to be bandits.
Our citizens, the military is doing a yeoman's job. This is not their primary duty. They're not cut out for internal security matter, but we're dragging them into internal security matter. And they're doing it diligently. And you see members of the public criticizing them as if they're not doing anything. We sleep in our homes at night every day. They're in the field every day. So, and then it is we, the citizens, that give information to non-state actors who use that information to ambush them. So we should be careful in what we do. We should engage and be proactive, because they've come to keep the peace. Also, other security agents, the DSS, the police, let's engage with them positively and make sure that we bring complete peace.
All right, so that's the governor of Kwara State, Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, speaking about what role everybody can play, literally, in terms of making sure that we're all safe at the end of the day. But the question is to be asked. Most of the time when governors and leaders speak and say, people said this, people said that, they have all the apparatus in terms of government. They say after God is government, to be able to nip this in the bud. Are we overstretched? Is that something we could do differently? It's a different kettle of fish altogether. We hope we can get Mr. Kelvin Uzoma back to conclude his thoughts on this level of insecurity that is resurging across parts of the country, especially in the north-central part of Nigeria. But let's take you to some other stories where the governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo, has hosted the members of the EU and UK-based Anambra in diaspora at a town hall meeting in London. The engagement served as a platform for the governor to present his administration's 3-year scorecard and outline future priorities. He also made passionate appeal to the diaspora community to partner with government in sustaining the state's ongoing development momentum.
It was quite value for money. And we have refused to borrow a kobo from any bank since this last year. It's deliberate. You borrow when I always say we have really 2 criteria to borrow. It has to be concessional. Number 2, it has to be project finance. We'll be able to show you how that loan will be repaid when we borrow. And I will tell you, that's why Anambra is the only state that turned down an ongoing World Bank loan that I met. Last year, they distributed 438 billion to 35 states. Anambra was the only state that did not get it. Why? I had 2 problems with it. When I came in, I told the country director of the World Bank, so I understand a little thing about this finance and money and so on. But from what I could understand, it was the most expensive fund in the world.
All right, that's the governor of Anambra State. So let's go back to the issue of security as we need to wind down. Mr. Kelvin Uzoma is a security consultant who has joined us before now, but we have issues with his connection. But if you can hear me in your closing thoughts in just about a minute, what options are there left for us, for especially, because those of us in the city center, we seem to be having a good time. But these people in the rural areas, poor people who are just barely trying to survive, even in the face of the harsh economy, are still being killed every other time. Calvin?
Okay, maybe a quick one. Maybe if
Okay, I'm sure we can. The network will be kinder to us some of the time, but this is an important conversation, and we're not going to let it go until something is done to protect our citizens as provided for in our Constitution. That is the essence of government in the very first place. Primary responsibility of government. So this is a call to the president and to everyone who is a governor to do their best to make sure that the people are protected, working with security agencies. So we'll keep the conversation in the front burner in the coming days. Thank you for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.